My name is Terry Vasan, and I am the Country Manager for Smart Technologies. Before I go into my presentation, I'd like to give you a brief introduction about Smart, tell you where we come from and what has been our involvement with education, in hope for you to understand us better and appreciate the company and our work with the education better. So Smart Technologies is based in Calgary, Canada. We were formed in 1986, and it was in 1991 we introduced the interactive whiteboard. So we are the pioneers, we are the original inventors of this particular product. When our founder, Dave Martin, introduced this product, he thought he had developed a product for corporate market, a product which can be used in the boardrooms for making presentations. But very early in the introduction of our product, we realized that education was going to be one of our key verticals, because education very wholeheartedly adopted our product. And as a result, for the last about 17 or 18 years, we have been working with education customers worldwide. We sell our products in about 175 countries all over the world. We've seen our products adoption going from 0 in a classroom to something like 72% classrooms in UK as of today have got interactive whiteboards. And 100% of the schools, nearly 100% of the schools have got interactive whiteboards. So this experience of working with the schools, working with these students, teachers, IT coordinators, principals, decision makers, right up to the minister level, has given us a unique experience of not just being a ringside view of how things, how ICT is adopted in different parts of the world, but also of being a partner with many of these countries. As I mentioned, UK has about 3 out of 4 classrooms have got interactive whiteboards, and I shouldn't just restrict myself to interactive whiteboards, but kind of broaden the term to say ICT into classrooms. USA is at a stage where, thanks to the downturn in economy, the US government is putting in a lot of money into infrastructure, and education is one of the key segments in infrastructure, and within education they have decided to put ICT into classrooms. And we expect that within the next 2 to 3 years, almost 100% of the classrooms within the US will have ICT and interactive whiteboards. So these are some of the leading examples, but there are countries in EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, where they have the penetration rate of 10 to 15% or up to 20% in some Western European countries, penetration into classrooms. Some developing countries like Mexico is also not too far behind. Mexico, I'll probably talk about Mexico more about in my presentation. So with that introduction about Smart and what has been our role with some of the key countries in the world, I would like to get into my presentation. It's about 25 slides, but bear with me. The first 15 slides, I'm just going to run through them. These are essentially to give you a taste of what kind of change is happening out in the world. To give you and then from that I will build on my presentation and go into the second part of the presentation. So think about how different the world is now as compared to just about 5 years ago. About 10,000 babies will be born today. And what will their world look like in 20 years? What kind of knowledge will they need? Just think about it. Today, we conducted over 61 billion internet searches. We conduct about 61 billion internet searches every day. The population of the UAE is about 2.6 million, whereas they have 4.5 million mobile phones in use. That's roughly about 2 mobile devices per person. China and India is, I'm pretty sure it's not too far behind. I mean, the kind of penetration rate we're seeing in mobiles is mind-boggling here in India. China has the second largest internet user base in the world, about 127 million. More than 70% of the US 4-year-olds have used a computer. More than 53 million Japanese use mobile phones to access the internet. This is the world our children are accustomed to. Tomorrow, when our children turn 21, they will have watched 20,000 hours of television, played 10,000 hours of video games, sent and received over 250,000 emails or instant messages. That's per child per year. And by the time they go to this high school 20th reunion, they will have between 10 to 14 jobs. I know, I'm born and raised in India, but I've lived in Canada now 10 years. And I know some people who worked for Tata Steel all their life and then retired and settled down in Chipper. It's pretty different from the kind of world that we've seen in the past. This is the world in which our children will live. Just think about it. Many of our today's colleges subjects didn't exist 20 years ago, such as new media, organic agriculture, e-business, nanotechnology, homeland security, which obviously is a very big subject in the US these days. So what will they study 10 years from now? The world's educations are challenged. They are challenged to prepare students for the jobs that haven't been even invented yet. They are challenged to teach them how to solve problems that we don't even know about today. Yet, in spite of the tools available to the educators, and in spite of our children's desire to use them, we continue to teach them with the tools invented 200 years ago. I'm going to leave you with this thought here. I'm not going to go into the details about the product here because that's a different discussion altogether. And now I'll move on to the second part of my presentation, in which we try to summarize as to what is our experience worldwide and what have we seen happening in the other parts of the world. So we have a knowledge-based economy these days, and these economies, they need knowledge workers. We've seen that trade barriers fall, technological innovations increase, and as a result, there's a disappearance of unskilled labor opportunities. If you're uneducated, you're unemployed. And education is now a foundation for economic prosperity. Technology forms a critical infrastructure. It is or will become pervasive. Technological literacy is a critical comparative skill for the 21st century students and teachers. Technology can be used to break down economic, geographic, social, or cultural barriers to advancement. And it gives you an ability to compete globally. I think it's very evident here in India. India is now definitely a leading power when it comes to information technology and the services that are associated with that. So we must prepare our today's learners for the future. So the 21st century students, they need to learn differently. Experience and active learning is central. Knowledge is always in a context. I remember Mr. Kuntia had made a mention of this, that it's no more the age of one-sided teaching. The teacher is giving directions to the students, and whatever the teacher says, they have to absorb and learn. The students these days, they look at things differently. They have to learn everything in the context, in their context. Technology enables a new mindset and a new skill set, which gives them a fluency in multiple media. They look for learning based on collective seeking, sorting, and synthesizing experience. And education uses technology to create active. We need to make sure that the education, it uses technology to create active and lifelong learners. We need new models of teaching for new kinds of learners, which would involve all parties interested in education. And these are to begin with, we believe that it's always the student. It's all about the student. So the student, number two, the teacher, then the government and the education system, the parents, the community, and all the businesses associated with education. We need to move from a teacher-led to a learner-led style. We're not saying that the teacher is not important anymore, but teachers, the phrase that we like to use is that instead of being the sage on the stage, he's got to be the guide on the side. And let the students lead the learning process. We need to accommodate diverse learning environments. There are different environments now. There's got to be a whole class learning, small group learning, individual learning, and distance learning. And I know Minister Mrs. Purandeshwari Devi today mentioned that distance learning is like one of the key sectors that the government wants to focus on. And we need to keep technology in perspective, and we need to realize that it's about learning and not technology. We're not trying to teach computers here, but it's all about learning. I doubt if you can see the text over there, but the next two slides are essentially just to give you a taste of our experience of having brought interactive whiteboards / ICT, our experience from other parts of the world. And why I put this slide in there is because I know there are always skeptics about anything and everything. And when it comes to technology, you will find more skeptics as to why do we really need ICT or why do we really need interactive whiteboards. But our experience of having worked in 175 other countries has shown that they do make a difference. And in countries like UK and US, they've gone way beyond that discussion of whether we need interactive whiteboards. They're done with that. UK is almost over. US is going to be over in the next couple of years. So they're beyond, in India I'm sure, I know that we still have this discussion as to do we really need being key stage 2, mathematics made the equivalent of 2.5 to 5 months additional progress, and it goes on. And the important study, which if anyone is interested in getting more details, you're welcome to send me an email. For the Europeans, the students in grade 5 and grade 6 were, that at that particular stage, they kind of lost, they get disengaged with the education out there. Grade 5 and grade 6 they found were critical. They get disengaged, and very soon thereafter the students would drop out from the schools. So in order to engage the grade 5 and grade 6 students, they decided to put ICT into all the classrooms all over the country. So in 2 to 3 years, all grade 5 and all grade 6 schools all over Mexico, they had ICT in there. It included computer, projectors, in some cases television sets, most of the cases interactive whiteboards, digital content, digital books, and the results have been astounding. As an example, they put 180,000 interactive whiteboards all over Mexico. Another example is New South Wales in Australia, and where about 41,000 students spread over an area of about 300,000 square miles. They're making use of interactive ICT and then also distance learning tools. So this is one of my last slides. Our responsible commitment to the civil society is to support education that gives students the skills and tools they need to fully engage in a competitive global economy, contribute positively to the health of education systems worldwide, develop best-in-class technology products that support 21st century teaching and learning, and begin every initiative with consideration for those most important affected by our actions, which is the students. So the future is collaborative. None of us can achieve the scale of improvements and the speed of change required to meet the global challenges of the 21st century. And in case you can see the text clearly, I mean, it's essentially the community, parents, government, business, colleges, universities, media, they're all in this together. And we must build a future by learning and working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.